is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by Alive Credit Union.
Welcome back to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio, and welcome back to Fleet and Footy presented by Alive Credit Union. I can't quite welcome back Stuart Webber to the show just yet. You'll hear from him a little bit later on a on-field interview from the match. But Stuart will be joining me next week, thank goodness. But we've got a great episode today. We'll recap a dominant win from the U23 women's team, 11-0. And we'll break down a gutsy battle between the Armada and a old foe in the Miami Dutch Lions. We'll then shift gears and talk to former Armada midfielder. And many of you watch him currently in the USL, and I've seen him out in Statesboro, Mason Tunbridge. And then we'll touch on some Champions League, some CONCACAF Gold Cup, as the U.S. men's national team just dropped their roster a couple hours before I just arrived to the studio today. And of course, we'll have everyone's favorite segment, Stuart's favorite segment, the weird soccer story of the week. The chat's going off right now. You got Sean in there, Derek. We're live right now, and it feels good. 17-0 over the weekend if you combine the scores to both the men's and women's games. Honestly, both teams are firing on all cylinders. So it's been incredible to watch so far this season. Hamby, let's throw up that starting 11 graphic that for the men's pick so we can just start rolling through all these wonderful goals. The men ended up putting up 6 in their win this past Saturday at Nathaniel Glover Community Field and Stadium. The goals got started relatively early. In the 24th minute, Xavi Sato wins a penalty in the box, and Sebastian Zettel puts one into the back of the net for his first PK of the season. And then you've got the second goal of the night scored by Giancarlo Vaccaro, who Giancarlo now has played for the Armada U23 team for the past 5 years. And thanks to Derek and his fantastic stat keeping, I now know that he goes into 4th all-time in this new iteration of the Armada U23 team, and with 11 goals. But here's that starting 11 for you. You had the 6'5" monster Lewis Matten up top, 2 really fast wingers and tricky wingers at that, and Xavi Sato and Giancarlo Vaccaro flanking down the side of him. Big Mac in the midfield. First time I've gotten to see him play in a full match at home. He honestly played a fantastic game. Thiago Berahinha, Sebastian Zettel, Paul Danner played a fantastic game. You got Scargill starting his first home match of the season. Eckert, and then the local lad, Nick Erb at right back. And Jeremy Costi in net. Another fun fact coming your way from Derek. Jeremy Costi now has now played 15 games for the U23s and has 8 clean sheets. Of those 15 matches played, he has 11 wins. So he's getting up there in the all-time list for the U23s, and a stacked bench. You got goals off that bench from Arnal Rabasa, Joan Hernandez is a new one, and Mo Zettel, who's been fantastic so far this season. Let's roll into those highlights, Hamby, just so we can get through them. There's so many of them, it feels like. But yeah, the scoring continued. Giancarlo, just after the half, ends up scoring in the 48th minute. One of my favorite goals I've seen all season once that replay comes up. Here's that foul in the box. Xavi Sato, maybe one of the most fouled players on this Armada U23 team this season. With his tricky footwork and how quick he is getting in behind those defenders down the flank, it's been so fun to watch him this year. I had the pleasure of watching him absolutely carve up JU and UNF these past couple of years as he's played for Stetson, now transferring to UNGC Greensboro. So we're excited to have him on the team. He also scored a couple of goals for Columbus United last year in our defeat in the playoffs. But as you can see here, the number 10, Sebastian Zettel, steps up to take the pen. Cooley slots it away. That's his first goal of the season. Surprisingly enough, with the amount of shots and how involved he's been in the attack, he's got 4 assists on the month as well, Sebastian. Some more tricky footwork here from Xavi Sato. Here's that goal. Oh my goodness. Hamby, I don't know if you saw that, but I mean, this guy kicks it up to himself twice here. This is my favorite goal of the entire match day. Giancarlo Vaccaro with some fantastic trickery. Winger to winger. Puts it away. That center back couldn't quite get the touch on it. I mean, I was lucky enough to talk to G after the game, so you'll be hearing with him from the post-game interview from Saturday. But, I mean, such a cool, calm, collected finish. This is a guy who's been here for 5 years. He understands the culture. He understands the mentality. And he understands the style of play. And I think that's the reason why he wants to come back every year and the reason why Tommy Krajinovic brings him back every year. These guys on the wings, Giancarlo and Sato, I mean, it's going to be a nightmare for some of these NPSL teams to deal with throughout the season. Lewis Matton scores the 4th goal for the boys in blue. I mean, for a 6'5" lad, this guy can move. You guys got to see him on the field. You guys can see him this Saturday at 7:30 at Edward Waters, as we'll get into that game a little bit later. But here's G's 2nd goal of the night. Just puts it away right in front of the net. Is this another Sato assist too? I mean, these are talking about 2 wingers on the opposite sides of the field linking up here. It's just incredible what this offense has been able to do so early on. Sometimes with these NPSL games, it takes a little bit longer for these rosters to gel and develop. Here's a beautiful turn from Lewis Matton to take around his defender and coolly slot it to the bottom left-hand corner. He even does a little celly, a little Cole Palmer celly. I'll definitely be using that picture till the end of time on social media. But Louis Matton gets it done for the 4th goal. As much as I've been talking up Xavi Sato, he still hasn't scored a goal in this match yet, but he does get the 5th one in the 59th minute. The goals just started pouring in at this point for the Armada. You got one in the 57th, the 59th, and then the 60th. Matton ends up scoring again. Section 904 showed out once again with the smoke. Here's that 5th goal scored by Xavi Sato. I mean, you're not stopping this. Set that number 17, the way that he's streaking down the wing, that left wing, the way that he cuts back in on his foot reminds me of a Louis Snoddy. I love watching this guy play. So you got a brace in there for Vaccaro, and a brace ends up coming up for Lewis Matton to get the last goal of this matchup in the 60th minute. The goals are coming from everywhere. It's not just coming from a few guys. It's been really nice to see the goal distribution. I think that's what Tommy Krajinovic and his staff have been preaching. They want the goals to come from anywhere. As you know, Tommy loves to play this 3-4-3 style ball. So all his attackers, all his wingers are up, all his midfielders are up. His right backs and left backs play essentially like a winger. And I think having a physical, tall presence like a Lewis Matton up there in the middle to, not, have those over-the-top balls, but be able to put one on a head or in on a corner or something. So it's been really awesome to watch the boys in blue so far this weekend. Ian, you might as well just take me into my segue. Can you put up that double header graphic, Hamby? Because little bit of a schedule change for the weekend for those of you watching and maybe planning on coming out to an Armada game this weekend. The girls in blue still play 3 o'clock at Edward Waters, Nathaniel Glover Community Field and Stadium. Tickets are still available at JacksonvilleArmada.com. So that's going to go off without a hitch. But at 7:30, the same night, your Jacksonville Armada men's team will be playing an away match at Edward Waters just a couple hours after. You will not be needed to buy a ticket for that men's match, you still will have to buy a ticket for that women's match. That men's match will not be live streamed on actionsportsjacks.com. Only the women's match will be. So if you want to get some extra Armada action that we didn't think we were going to get during the season, come out and watch both games. I know Section 904 is going to be out there all day. You might need to donate $5 to get a hot dog and an Anglo Dorada, but I know they'll welcome new fans with open arms. But your boys in blue now play a home match against Club de Lyon, and the women now will also try to continue their unbeaten streak as well earlier on in the afternoon. That game still available to watch on actionsportsjacks.com. If you can't make it out to one, try to make it out. Just try to make it out. I mean, it's always a good time. We'll still have all our vendors there. Everything will go off like normally. So we're just excited to be able to host an extra match and get some eyeballs on it locally. As we take a look ahead at that men's schedule, it's going to be a little bit wrong now. Can you put up that recap pick 4 for me? Now, the next home schedule for the Jacksonville Armada will take place June 14th after this matchup against the New Orleans Jesters, an old foe, and a foe that I'm excited to see once again. We usually play them a little bit earlier on in the season, but it's been exciting to play some of these newer teams. And then we cap it all off at Nathaniel Glover and Community Field and Stadium versus a new opponent in FC Florida, June 21st, the following weekend. Can you put up that pick 5, please, Mr. Hambone? We roll into the away matchups. You got a lethal doubleheader away matchup between in Naples. You go and you play Global Soccer Pathways June 26th, and then June 28th you play Naples United. Obviously, that's the big ticket matchup. The boys in blue have struggled over there at Paradise Sports Park, if I'm not mistaken on that name. Here is that schedule. And then the all-fabled July 5th, the July 4th weekend game in New Orleans. JJ, if you're watching, I'm still working with Mike from Kelly Tours to get you on that bus. We'll try to get you a hotel room, too. I don't know. I can get you there at least. But July 5th, it all culminates in the Big Easy. So the boys in blue flying high right now. No losses, no draws. Don't want to jinx anything just yet, but man, it's been awesome to watch. As we take a look at the women's starting 11 from this past weekend, a fantastic starting 11. Didn't even have the whole bench available to him. Goffey, what's that comment say? Ask Nathan to get us a giant inflatable water slide for the tailgate. I mean, that might be a hard sell. I don't know how much pull I have in getting a water slide. I could maybe, what about like a Walmart slip and slide? Can we negotiate that maybe? Here we got JJ riding with Nick. He's driving to New Orleans. So see, we got spots available for you, JJ, on this trip. The girls in blue, screenshot it off my Instagram, and without cropping. That is prime Lewis. That is not Hambone in the back. That is Lewis doing this.
Trust me, I helped you out. It was worse than this about 10 seconds ago.
I just pulled this up right now, and I'm truly embarrassed. This is one of the biggest blunders I've had on the show. But here's that starting 11, who end up scoring 11 goals, all right? I think you had 8 different goal scorers in this match, if I'm not mistaken. Savannah Yerger in goal, Bella Faraday, Kylie. Oh, there you go. What a guy. This guy, Hambone, he always saves me. He's such a good producer. He's back. He's back. He's back on the keys back there.
Yes, sir.
So we're happy to have Hambone back. But you got Bella Faraday, KO, Kylie Overstreet, Seaborn, Upton, Fogarty, Maddie Williams, Gianna Ramirez, Talitha Hines, Nancy Almanza, and Sophia Pontieri. A solid starting 11 with some absolute ballers coming off the bench as well. end up scoring 11. And I have to go through every single one of these girls' names because they all deserve a little shout out. Gianna Ramirez gets the scoring started in the 9th minute, followed closely by Sophia Pontieri in the 12th. Hayden Petrick gets hers in the 21st before Liz Ann Fogarty scores her first of 3 of the match in the 37th minute. Pontieri gets her brace in the 43rd. And we led the girls in blue. Like I scored any of those goals. The girls in blue led at the break 5-0. But that wasn't enough for Goffey and his staff. He wanted to put the pedal to the metal. Here's that starting 11. Fogarty scores 2 more times in the 57th and 88th minute to complete her hat trick. Nancy Almanza scores once again in a couple back-to-back games in the 58th minute. Talitha Hines in the 73rd. Overstreet, the defender, in the 75th minute. And Sedona Danchu in the 90+1 minute to just cap off a relentless offensive display. With that win, the Armada women improved to 2-0-1 on the season. I know Goffey was just ecstatic with that win. He wanted to show that we are one of the premier squads in this Sunshine Conference. As you take a look at this, the current standings, West Florida Flames is that one draw that you can see there. Probably one of our biggest opponents that will play all season. This weekend, though, your girls in blue play FC Primetime, the newly named club. Florida Premier right there you see in 4th place with just 1 win, but don't let that fool you. A fantastic built club from the ground up, tons of youth talent, has had a women's youth team for years and years and years outside of Tampa there, so that's going to be a tough matchup. We'll end up playing Seminole Ice again later on in the season, as well as the West Florida Fusion. So plenty to look forward.
Seminole Ice.
You don't like that one?
Well, why are they the ice?
I don't think
Or this is Seminole County, is it not?
Yeah, it's pretty much it's Seminole, Florida.
Okay, so
right
absolutely no
Florida.
ice.
No ice,
except for when it's maybe because it's hot. You got to cool off with the ice in the drink.
Truly one of the hottest fields we play at Hambone. Like it's stale
like
air
IC?
there in Central Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the names are interesting, and then your favorite name down at the bottom, AJC.
Yes.
AGC. Excuse me.
Which is a good club.
It's a great club.
Great club.
I think after this weekend, we could downgrade them to a good club. I mean, the girls in blue definitely put the whooping on them. So that was awesome to see, just to show the dominance that these girls can have in a matchup and just turning things around after being down 4-2 to West Florida Flames late on in that matchup. They have now scored 13 unanswered goals without a goal conceded. So just absolutely amazing stuff from the girls in blue. And guess what? Not often do we have footage from away matches from the girls, just because it's, we don't have the production that the Action Sports Jacks crew puts on at our home matches. But we actually do have some exclusive Tim Fogarty footage from the sideline of this fantastic hat trick scored by Liz Ann Fogarty. I like to call it the Fleet and Footy bump. We had her on to drop and release that WPSL squad. Trying to find that name for you, Hambone. It's called the Women's Recap Vid 3. Here we go. We don't often get this HD quality footage, so I was ecstatic to see this come through my inbox. Fantastic little header. Easy for the captain to finish off. A beautiful cross from Bella Faraday. As you see, Fogarty giving all the plaudits to BF there. That was number 1. Here's number 2, and I think this is the most impressive one. This is her right here, starting it off on the other side of the field. The ball gets played back to her, and an absolute strike here. Oh, goalkeeper's never getting to that one. The goalkeeper's never getting to that one. I mean, this is an 11-0 win, but I mean, these are well-executed, fantastic goals, playing in the style that Goffey loves to see his girls play in. And here's that final one to cap it off in the 88th minute. Oh my goodness. I mean, 3 fantastic goals, all scored from really different styles of play. But here's that goal again. Boom. Bink. Oh my goodness. I mean, a fantastic win from the girls in blue. I'm excited to see them back home, to see what they can do against FC Primetime. Hey, I cannot condone that one. That nickname, Derek, but it's quite funny. It's quite funny. Yeah, Sean, that was a homing missile, man. I mean, it's been impressive, the shots that we've seen this summer so far. When we come back, though, we'll talk a little bit more about this doubleheader and how you can watch it, but we'll also get an interview from former Armada midfielder Mason Tunbridge. So here's that away women's schedule for them coming up. Your Seminole Ice, we played really early in once. We got them out of the way. You get to see them at home, Hambone, in a couple of weeks. But those 2 away matches that I talked about just earlier, Florida Premier and Northport Fusion, I mean, 2 very, very good clubs. Florida Premier being one of those new clubs. So going to be exciting to see how they come out and play. But like I mentioned, this weekend, come see the girls in blue at home for a WPSL matchup to continue their undefeated streak. Or you can watch it right here on the actionsportsjacks.com.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with we Armada rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is home. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
Get local sports on demand with Action Sports Jacks 24/7. All sports, all local, all the time. From the locker room to the field, the Jacks, high school football, the Jacksonville Armada, and don't forget, the Brett and Austin Show. They're all in on Trevor. Of course. Download the Action News Jacks Now app, available wherever you stream or at actionnewsjacks.com. TV, phone, laptop, desktop. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. Jacksonville sports, all the time.
2024 provided plenty of memorable moments for the Jacksonville Armada on the pitch, including another conference championship game appearance for Tommy Krasanovich's under-23 men's team. Debuting this year for the first time, the girls in blue, as the Armada fielded a women's under-23 side in the WPSL and made its presence known with some highlight moments.
Potential goal of the season!
Then attention turned to the future, with MLS Next teams representing the Armada badge in 3 age divisions this fall, including an under-19 squad ranking among the best in the state. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
This is is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by a live credit union.
Welcome back to the Action Sports Jack studio, and welcome back to Fleet and Footy, presented by a live credit union. But we've got a very, very special guest on the show right now. He spent his time in Duval as a midfielder for the Jacksonville Armada. He went on to play for the Tormenta in Georgia, a true grinder in the American lower leagues, you could say. He's got great insight, great stories, a tough midfielder. Mason Tunbridge, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's been great to watch your progress so far in the USL. Not only that, but before moving on, your success in college. Can you first take me through how you even crossed the pond? And your first stop in the United States was in Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, definitely. So I was playing back home in England, and agencies come over and sort of inform us of the opportunity to get a degree and continue playing soccer. And I jumped on it, and I had a trial and really impressed the Jacksonville head coach at the time. And he gave me an opportunity to come and start my collegiate career, which was great. And then spent a few years there before transferring to San Diego, where I finished out my final few years. So great experience overall.
Well, you didn't just finish out your final few years at San Diego. You end up taking them on a little NCAA run, and also winning an All-American award yourself.
Yeah, it was great. I had good success with San Diego. I had a great team around me, great coaching staff, and yeah, I am proud of everything I accomplished there. It was a great team, and always happy to win things.
You scored some more of those Tunbridge certified bangers over there. I was watching those highlights every once in a while. As a man that calls his games on ESPN Plus, I was always checking in on you. So we mentioned there, your first stop was at JU, but how do you end up getting that phone call from Tommy Krzanovich to sell you to play that first year on the Boys in Blue?
It was interesting. I would say it was the other way around. I had called his assistant at the time, Jack Burns, because I'd heard nothing but good things about the Armada and about sort of the experience of playing under Coach Krzanovich. And we sort of got the ball rolling there. And then when I finally got to speak to him, he gave me the opportunity and never looked back. It was, some of my favorite moments of playing in America was playing for the Armada under Coach and with that group of lads. So I was really happy it all worked out in the end.
You've played some really memorable games for the Armada. I know there's a picture in here of you and your dad post-match at one of these games. How much did that mean to you to have, a city and a fan base that would show out for you in this club no matter what?
I think it made all the difference, not just for me, but for the rest of the group. And, I make a conscious effort from those relationships that were built to whenever I'm back in Jacksonville to try and see the fans, see Section 904, see the club. And I know some of the fans make an effort to come up to Georgia to catch my game. So, it's cliche for people to always say it's a family and stuff, but I think at the Armada it really is. And that photo there, it is something that the community prides itself on, and I'm proud and privileged to have said I was a part of that.
That's one of my favorite photos in those Armada photo albums that we have. It's a fantastic one. You talked about it, and I've asked several former and current Armada players or staff members. We love to talk about the culture here. Is there something specific that you would attribute to Armada culture or say that is Armada culture? Because I can't really describe it sometimes.
I'd say the bottom line is winning. I think, development and sort of coach does a really good job of helping us, in our off season of becoming better people, better players. But I think it's an unspoken sort of law of us that it was, we win every game, and we do everything we can to win. be it pretty, be it ugly, but winning is important, and when you win, you reap all the rewards on the field, off the field. So I'd say that's probably the biggest cultural thing I felt being a part of the Armada.
Well, you make that culture shift and that professional shift to Statesboro. I mean, I was ecstatic when I saw this go through. You're just not too far away, so it's always cool to see, Derek and Nick pop up there for a game and show their support. You got to tell me, what's been the level jump been like, even from an NPSL to this level, or from a college to a professional level?
I think it's the day in, day out. The speed of the game is definitely quicker. It's definitely more physical, for sure, physically demanding. But as for the quality of players and stuff, I played with players that are just as good in college, in the Armada. Players that I think could be playing at the pro level. I'm just grateful I was lucky enough and had, like you said, a good college season to allow me to have this opportunity. But I think, the main thing is probably just the physicality and the speed of play in general.
I think you've always had the physicality piece. That was never in question. But you've gotten to play in a couple different things within the USL. Is a little bit different than what we normally talk about within MLS. The Jägermeister Cup. Can you talk about your experience with that? I heard you had a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's been great. I managed to score 2 goals in the first Jaeger game of the season that we had. It's a really exciting competition. We haven't managed to get there yet, but if a game is to finish in a tie, it goes straight to PKs, which is always exciting for both players and fans. And the opportunity to test ourselves against the higher USL Championship teams in a competitive environment, not just friendlies, just makes it an overall exciting experience to be a part of, and for, like I said, for myself and for the players as well as the fans watching.
Another tournament you have you played in this year was the US Open Cup, and I actually watched this game. It was a tremendous game. You ended up getting a fantastic assist in this second goal, but I mean, this game went back and forth all night. I know that wasn't the result that you wanted, but what do these cup games mean to you? A Jägermeister Cup, a US Open Cup?
Again, I think it's that that competitive edge of one and done. You never want to lose. You always want to win. But we won this game that you're showing the clip of. But the underdog story, I think, we unfortunately lost to Charleston in an underdog story. But I think that's sort of the magic of the cup. That's why people watch, and anything can happen. So yeah, again, that's another exciting competition to be a part of, for sure.
Since I know Derek goes and watches you away, I had to ask the classic Derek question. It just popped up into my mind. Does pineapple belong on pizza, Mason Tunbridge, before I forget?
Absolutely.
That's why he goes and visits you all the time. I see. Yeah. All right, that's amazing, because Stuart and I disagree. We've had a lot of people disagree. I think you might be one of the first ones. You had so many memories here in Jacksonville, and you've played with so many different players. Is there one, I want a specific memory or game that sticks out to you? And two, maybe a couple players who have influenced you in your playing, or maybe you just had fun playing with throughout your time at the Jacksonville Armada.
Give him 1 second, Lou.
My question was too good.
It was. Yeah, he had to think about it too long.
Mason Tunbridge on Fleet and Footy right now. Thank you, everyone, for joining, who is joining and commenting. We got Gabby in the comments. We got Sean. Sean doesn't like the PKs, but I actually really enjoy that aspect of MLS Next Pro, is that PK aspect. You're always going to get a winner. You're always going to get some kind of exciting finish. So I really do enjoy that with the Jägermeister Cup and the MLS Next Pro regular season. We'll definitely get into MLS Next Pro, their weird playoff rules and different things. But throughout the season, just because it's been so interesting to see MLS tweak and play with their rule set to see if they can ever implement it within the first division. As mentioned before, don't miss this weekend. We have an exciting weekend filled with Armada soccer. Jacksonville, the girls in blue play at home. Tickets still available at jacksonvillearmada.com. And the boys in blue play a later free matchup at 7:30. Come out, enjoy a free match, and some more Armada soccer.
Ancla Dorada. The official bear of your Jacksonville Armada.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7. People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
This is Fleet and Footy on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, sponsored by Alive Credit Union.
Welcome back to the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 studio. You can see Hambone back there. And you know who else you'll see on my screen right now is former Armada midfielder and current player for Georgia Tormenta FC, Mason Tunbridge. Will be joining us very shortly. We had just a bit of a mishap, and we were just getting into some of his favorite moments with the Jacksonville Armada. There's been plenty of them. Those couple seasons that he's been a part of were really, really exciting. And he's back. The big man is back, and I'm going to refresh you just a little bit on that question before that call dropped, just because I always like to get this one in with Armada players because they all have something different. Sometimes it's post-game. Sometimes it's just a moment after a match. But what was your favorite moment playing for the Armada. And then I like to ask, because we always have these players continue up the pipeline, is there a specific player or teammate that you had that really, helped you out or just made you play that much better?
Yeah, I think as for the game, I think it was against Southern Roots. We was at home. I think it was at Episcopal, and it was the regional final, I think, or the conference final. And we was down, and I remember Cole Reasonova scored a amazing goal.
The cross shot.
And we went on to win the game. And I think that one there was because I remember we was in a lightning delay, and I remember Section 904 stayed for quite some time. And I remember, again, it just epitomized how connected the club was. And, we paid them back with a great win. So that was definitely a great moment. And as for players, there's so many, as you said, so many great players I've played with. I'd say a big leader and someone who really influenced the culture within the group was Jed Bowman, who I know is a part of coaching staff with the women's team now. He was just everything you could want from a captain in terms of pushing us every day and setting those standards. And then as for pure quality on a player, he's on the team this year, Giancarlo. He's lightning fast. He's got some of the best feet I've ever seen. I used to love, as a midfielder, those are the sort of exciting wingers you want to play to. So I used to love playing with him as well.
The Canadian Flash, I'm starting to call him. He's so fun to watch. He's so fun to watch. Your play style, I think, is really interesting. Just personally, you're quite a big lad, but you play in the midfield, and I mean, you never stop running. This guy is not lazy, all right? Who do you, even when you were younger, or maybe even now, is there someone that you look to that you want to base your style off of?
Yeah, I'd say it's the player who I admire the most. He's not playing at the moment, but was Paul Pogba. As I was a bit younger, again, he had a big frame, but it's important to me as important as to put on show and excite people and make people want to come back. So I think. I always try to incorporate some flair and excitement and creativity, and I think Pogba was a player who I used to watch who done all of that in abundance. So I definitely say him.
Another question that I always ask, and especially it's been good because you get to relay this to these pro academy guys that we have now. Is there something that you can give a tidbit of snippet, some kind of advice to young players within Jacksonville who even play for this JFC badge right here to want to be at your level?
I think hard work. I think, again, that sounds cliche, but I think your football journey is never smooth sailing. And I think you have to be prepared for hard conversations, hard truths. You have to be vulnerable to put yourselves in the position to have those conversations. And, I think I can think of countless conversations I've had, even myself while at Patton Park and with the Armada group that I've held on to and has allowed me to change habits and really adapt myself to, again, push myself to this higher level. So I guess the big thing is just, there's people that have done it before you, and there's people in your corner, and I think just using them as much as possible is probably what's going to help you excel as an individual.
That's honestly a fantastic answer and a fantastic way to end this interview off. Mason, absolute class on and off the pitch. Big thanks to you for joining us and sharing some of those great stories and memories from Duval and beyond.
Of course. Thank you for having me, and vamos Armada.
Love that. Love to hear that. All right, now let's shift gears. As coming up next right now, we're going to dive into the Champions League final because, it was a lot. We're talking about a 5-0 win from PSG defeating Inter Milan in an absolute rout, all capped off and really, executed by 19-year-old Desiree Doué. He had 2 goals and an assist in the 5-0 defeat over AC Milan. After everything that Inter Milan. After everything that we have been talking about this season with Champions League and how close the games were and how close the semifinals were, it was just absolutely insane to see a 5-0 rout in the final. And actually, shout out to head coach of the women's team, David Goff, for actually predicting PSG winning. I think in the Elite 8 when we had him on, that was his pick to win it all. So congrats to Goff. He even posted the clip on his Instagram after PSG won. He wanted to make sure no one forgot. I actually have been compiling some clips for Stuart's return of a couple of my biggest misses and blunders on some guesses and some things like that. I don't know if you saw anything, but LAFC are not signing Antoine Griezmann this summer, as Atletico Madrid have signed him. But another 5-0 rout that also happened within the champions of their continent cup was the CONCACAF Champions Cup happened. Cruz Azul played Vancouver Whitecaps in another 5-0 routing. You had a couple thousand Whitecaps fans who made the trip all the way down to Mexico to go watch their team lose like that. I mean, this is not the same Vancouver team that I watched beat Inter Miami the round before, beat 3 Mexican teams the round before. We're going to talk about Club America a little bit, but Cruz Azul beat Club America to go through to this final. And an absolutely stunning season for the boys in blue from Mexico. They had no answer for them. Brian White didn't have an answer. Obviously, no Sebastian Berhalter during that matchup. He got a red card in the previous match. He will be on the U.S. Men's Gold Cup roster that we will talk about in just a second. But really disappointing to see an MLS team go out this way. MLS has only had 3 ever champions. Mexico has been dominating the competition, obviously, throughout its history. So I guess technically it would have gone to Canada if they would have won that trophy. So a little bit of an interesting tidbit there. But that takes us in now, speaking of Sebastian Berhalter, into that Gold Cup preview, as we've got a lot coming up this summer and happening at the same time. The Gold Cup's happening during the Club World Cup, which I feel like no one has even talked about. I'm like the only show that has talked about it now. But this is the Gold Cup groups. Now, you might notice, Hambone, a team that shouldn't be there. Can you guess who that is?
I'll go with... Well, I have no idea what that third team in Group A is. I can't even read
on. Suriname?
Nope.
No, Saudi Arabia. You see down there, that bottom right-hand corner.
I hadn't got down there yet. I was trying to just figure out what country that was. I mean, sorry, but never heard of them.
The American geography. You don't know about Curacao, right? At least that's like a vacation.
They got a couple.
spot.
They got a couple.
Baseball.
Players.
That's right.
A couple Braves.
Anthony Simmons, right? There's a couple.
Yeah.
So yeah, the United States, as you can see, are in Group D. There. This is Pochettino's, I guess, first major tournament that's not the Nations League, which he fumbled earlier. But a group that consists of the United States, Haiti, Trinidad, and Saudi Arabia. Now, that Saudi Arabia game is going to be very tricky. Let's not forget what happened to Argentina and Messi a couple of years ago in the World Cup. On a global stage, Saudi Arabia defeats Argentina. So definitely a couple interesting matchups here and a couple of upsets that could really happen. I'm scared for Jamaica. If Jamaica gets firing on all cylinders, that team is really, really dangerous. Canada might be the best team in CONCACAF right now just based off of pure talent. Mexico hasn't been the same Mexico in a couple of years. Costa Rica, I'm pretty sure Keylor Navas, after announcing his retirement from the national team, is now...
Goalie, right?
Yes. Hambone from left field.
Colombian?
No, Costa Rica. Hambone from left field. That's a fantastic shout. Yes, former Real Madrid keeper. Was around Europe quite a bit. Has found himself back on the national team for Costa Rica. So a lot of interesting matchups. Dominican Republic, a team you don't get to see in there too often. Hambone's new outside looking in favorite, Suriname.
Yeah. Pencil them in for a deep run.
Pencil them in. So this will be going on for a whole month. I want to say it starts, it does actually start June 14th, and I think it runs all the way through July 14th, the same exact time as the Club World Cup. But just this morning, Pochettino and his staff revealed this U.S. men's national team roster for this Gold Cup, which has been so heavily contested.
Bro, is that ludicrous? Is it?
That's Chris Richards, but he's probably a $50 million man right now. He's waiting on a big money move out of his current club. He's probably the man of the hour within this list if you look at it, because there's really not that many big names on it. Where we used to excel, the United States, was goalkeeper. And I'd say if you ask a soccer U.S. men's national team casual who some of these guys are, they probably wouldn't have a clue. We used to be the home of the bald, great keeper, Tim Howard, a Brad Friedel, Brad Guzan, the double bald Brads. I just realized that. The goalkeepers, though, not as good as I would have hoped for. We don't have that much of an option. I'm pretty sure Zach Steffen just got injured right before this tournament. Defenders, you got Micah Thomas's teammate Tim Ream, the old man, pulling up the back line once again. Some young boys in there, but the main man, Chris Richards, ludicrous, as Hambone would say, probably the headliner there. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, just because Pochettino doesn't have a lot to choose from in terms of forwards, but in midfielders, he did. Sebastian Berhalter, I think, is a great pick. Deserved it. Johnny Cardoso is on his way out of Betis to a big money move. I think maybe possibly to Atletico Madrid. Luca De La Torre has been tearing it up for his hometown club in San Diego now that he's back in the United States. Malik Tillman has been improving slowly but surely, so he'll be interesting to see in there. Tyler Adams, another name that you know from the bigger U.S. men's national team rosters. But that Sebastian Berhalter one is one to circle, as well as Quinn Sullivan, who's been killing it for the Union, the older brother of Kevin Sullivan, Wonder Boy, who signed for Manchester City just recently. Forwards, you got Paxton Aronson, one of the Aronson brothers there. Was hoping you would see him just because we don't have a lot in attack, and he's at least exciting. Who I'm excited to see is Patrick Agyemang, who has 3 goals in 4 appearances for the men's national team. One of those, 2 of those goals being a brace just recently. So he'll be fun to watch. Damian Downs, maybe a name you haven't heard of. We'll see if he gets any minutes. He was one of those late additions after Florian Balogun dropped out. Brian White, who's the man that I've been talking about all year long for Vancouver, could do nothing in the Champions Cup. I'm hoping he does something for the red, white, and blue. I think this is the guy that Pochettino's going to stick with for the tournament. So get ready to watch a lot of Brian White. He's fun to watch. Definitely an old school style number 9. But this team is definitely going to have their work cut out for them. As Canada, I saw Canada's roster just earlier today. Got a lot of ballers. Got a lot of the European guys are wanting to play in this Gold Cup. And you know what? I get it. Maybe for a guy like Pulisic not wanting to play. These guys play so many games throughout the year. But, I mean, this is to represent your country. This is to represent, It's a whole nother level once you get to these international stages and these tournaments. It used to mean something, especially to the United States, to step on that field. So I know a lot of those old head U.S. men's national team guys talk about how special it was and how much meaning it had. So I'm hoping maybe this new era gets that instilled in them. Maybe they get excited for the World Cup, but who knows? Because as this is going on, we'll have the Club World Cup going on. Both opening day games start this month in a couple of weekends on June 14th to open it up. So it's going to be an action-packed day full of soccer. Now, the Club World Cup consists of 8 groups of 4, 32 teams, 3 MLS teams. Now, one of these MLS teams, LAFC, just qualified due to a play-in game versus Club America that happened just this last weekend. LAFC get it done 2-1 in extra time. Denny Bouanga, who's just almost unstoppable at sometimes in these big matchup games, embarrassed Club America once again. Club America losing, I want to say, 3 final/semifinals this season. They lost Liga MX, they lost this, and I think they lost the Cup as well. So the other MLS teams, obviously, in this tournament, Group A, Inter Miami. Group B, Seattle Sounders. But some really interesting matchups. I know just down the road, we'll have at Camping World Stadium, Auckland City playing Benfica. I mean, on a Wednesday afternoon. So if you guys do have the opportunity to go at some of these matches and see some of these clubs that you might not ever see again, please do, because I'm starting to get really pumped up for this tournament. It's something that has never happened before, this kind of iteration of the Club World Cup, this many teams. Also just got word a couple days ago that the winner of the Club World Cup will wear a Club World Cup winner's badge for the next 4 years on their jersey, which I think is a little, extra. But I know this is what FIFA wants. FIFA wants to build this up as a premier club tournament. I mean, they want to make a little bit more money as well. But to have it in the United States is definitely a big deal. Going on at the same time as the Gold Cup, we'll see how that affects attendance. I know they tried to make a lot of the Gold Cup sites on the West Coast, a lot of the Club World Cup games on the East Coast. But definitely some interesting teams in here and a lot of cool matchups. I know you got a matchup in River Plate Monterrey that's going to go on in LA. But that first opening matchup will be Al Ahly, the champions of Africa, coming out of Egypt, taking on Inter Miami at Hard Rock Stadium on DAZN.com for free, I'm pretty sure. So if you want to tune into that, I suggest you do. It will be very exciting, and it will be interesting to see how many of these ballers actually step out to play during these summer months. I got to do my favorite segment of the week now, because we're coming up on the end of the show. It's the weird soccer story of the week. Now, Hambone, you're going to have to play this one just a second, because I'm going to need to explain this one out first. The people have to hear the audio.
All right.
Now, this video comes out of the 4th tier in Brazil by a club named Itabarito. Itabarito, I'm pretty sure that's how you would say it, out of the Brasileiro Serie D. Now, this club plays funeral music. Wait. Let me set this up. This club has a brass band in the stands.
Yeah, can I just play it for the people?
Let's go. Let's see it. Let's see.
Oh boy.
So they play funeral music when opposing players are injured, which I think is fantastic. And now,
does that say the theme of Rocky?
And now they play the Rocky theme when there's a little fight, a little scuffle going on. I mean, how good is this? How good is this? Section 904. You might need to step up your game here. I mean, we've got full-on instruments. Brass instruments, excuse me. I know we have the drums. But I don't know if we got anyone that can do a little conducting.
Yeah, I think we need somebody to kind of lead this group, because it's, I mean, we had 8 people. I don't know if everybody was on the same page, and Shoot, man.
I'm sure Sebastian would have them in line and in check. So thank you for joining us on Fleet and Footy, and thank you for joining us right before the Women's Armada match if you're watching just before. Watch it all on actionsportsjacks.com and watch all games on actionsportsjacks.com all season long. Thank you very much for joining me today on Fleet and Footy.